Hello and welcome everybody to this special webinar event, Do More with Less, Optimizing Servers with HPE to Maximize VMware Licensing. Today's exciting webinar is sponsored by Hewlett-Packard Enterprise and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Mackenzie Puddesy with Actual Tech Media, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this conversation today. Changes to the VMware by Broadcom licensing strategy has introduced significant changes to the virtualization market landscape. These changes impact costs and necessitate strategic planning from IT departments and executive leaders. For companies utilizing VMware solutions, understanding these adjustments is essential for maintaining efficient operations and managing expenses effectively. Likely, that is why you are here, and luckily we are going to hear from the team at HPE to provide the information you're seeking. HPE is uniquely positioned to be your trusted guide through the changes in the virtualization market. As a hardware, software, and services vendor, HPE brings a breadth and depth of knowledge and capabilities unmatched in the market. Most importantly, they have the experience and the understanding of what it takes to navigate a successful digital transformation and can help you no matter where you are in your journey. This is going to be such a cool conversation, and I cannot wait to get started. So let's zip through the housekeeping and get things on our way. All right, first I want to draw your attention to the questions section of your webinar console. This is the best place to get involved, to get interactive, and post all your insightful questions, comments, feedback, and ideas. We do indeed want to hear from you. So why don't you find that questions tab now, and let's start off by saying a quick hello, hi, hola, bonjour, aloha, or whatever greeting you like today, and give a wave to the community virtually attending this webinar. As a quick side note, that window is also the best place to reach out and let us know if you have any technical issues during the session. Knock on wood, of course, that you don't suffer that fate. But don't forget that a quick browser refresh should get rid of any usual tech gremlins giving you problems with your slides or your audio. But if not, shoot a message in that questions tab and the Actual Tech team and I will be there to help. And the last thing I want to point out on your audience console is the Handouts tab nestled in the same window. Go check out some cool resources and follow-ups to our conversation today there. And if all that cool content wasn't enough of a sweet giveaway, we also have a $250 Amazon gift card as a prize drawing at the end of our webinar. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize, and all the winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. If you're not sure what those are, you can find the full T's and C's linked in the Handouts tab as well. Now, additionally, there is a $50 Amazon gift card up for grabs for the best question of today's session. We will have time for a live Q&A today, so make sure you get any and all of your questions in for our speaker. Okay, and with that, I believe we have wrapped up all of our housekeeping and we can get our first speaker on out here with us. Alrighty, I'm excited to present to you Brent Kenny, who is from HPE. He is HPE's Compute Category Manager. And I'm so excited to hear what Brent has prepared for us. And then I'm going to be joining him for Q&A. So keep those questions and comments rolling during the presentation. And with Brent, Brent, I'm going to pass things over to you. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today. My name is Brent Kenny. I'm a Compute Category Manager for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. And today's topic that we're going to be discussing is all about virtualization. There's been a lot of changes in the industry over the last probably year and a half, 2 years or so. And these changes are affecting a lot of our customers. So we wanted to have this webinar to discuss the changes that are taking place, how it's affecting customers, and what some of the things customers have been doing to address some of the challenge that they have faced in the virtualization market. So let's take a look at the market as a whole. This is an IDC report that dates back from looking at the share of software-defined compute by technology in the 3 different categories of virtual machine software, cloud system software, and then container infrastructure software. So what you see here is there is a little bit of contraction going on with the virtual machine software segment, but when you combine it with the cloud system software that does embrace some virtualization technologies within the cloud system software, it really hasn't moved a whole lot. And then, kind of a net new piece of the business is the container infrastructure software, not really competing too much with the virtualization segment of the business. So it continues to be a very resilient and strong part of the overall market for software defined compute. So the main market leader, as you probably know if you've had any experience in the industry, and I would imagine that most of you have if you're joining this webcast today, VMware is the dominant leader. The growth has slowed a little bit as far as adoption of VMware, and we're starting to see some traction with open source vendors, as well as adoption of some other virtualization vendor solutions as well, such as Nutanix and Microsoft Hyper-V, and a lot of other niche products when it comes to virtualizations. Customers are looking outside of just the norm of VMware. There's a couple things that are driving this momentum to look at other alternatives outside of the normal VMware. This dates back a couple years ago when Broadcom made an announcement that they were going to acquire VMware. And when that transaction closed and Broadcom started to look at the asset that they had acquired with VMware and building out the strategy for their go-to-market with VMware, a lot of things started to change. Namely, the biggest change to their strategy was to move from a perpetual license structure to a subscription-based structure for the licensing of the software. This is affecting a lot of customers. There's a lot of confusion about it. There's a lot of disruption, a lot of price increases that we have seen as well, and customers are experiencing the pain with that if they continue on with their existing infrastructure. And I'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. The other thing that we noticed, and part of the strategy with VMware, they moved to reduce the number of SKUs that they offer. They wanted to simplify their portfolio. And now they offer two foundational pieces that customers can purchase and then build off of those foundational offerings, which is VMware Cloud Foundation and then VMware vSphere Foundation. Then there are a number of different offerings from a services standpoint to build out the solution that they want within the foundational license that they have chosen. So I guess that's a good thing that they have simplified the ordering process for the solution, but there is some pain on the structure of the software moving from that perpetual license to a subscription license now. Now, I wanted to take you back to that discussion that we had earlier, seeing a lot of pricing changes moving to that subscription license if they stay on that same infrastructure. Here's an example of a customer that might be running some legacy HPE ProLiant Gen 8 or Gen 9 servers. Let's use the Gen 8 example where there's 13 servers running their virtual instance with VMware. You see the cost there. They paid for their hardware. The power is costing them about $93,000 a year, 94,000 roughly. And then with the licensing changes with those Gen 8 servers, it's close to $400,000 a year. And over a 5-year period, that equates to about 483K in spend to keep those Gen 8 servers running. So one of the ways that in this example, a customer was able to optimize their hardware footprint, reduce the number of servers that they had. They actually acquired new hardware, which cost them some money to update to the latest generation of ProLiant with HPE Gen 11. But by doing that, reduce the footprint significantly from a power standpoint. So it's consuming about half the power, or a little bit more than a little less than half of what they were utilizing power in their Gen 8 infrastructure. But the significant difference was in how they were able to optimize the VMware licensing within those 4 Gen 11 servers versus the 13 Gen 8 servers. So you can see the approximately a 50% reduction in the operating and licensing costs. So that includes the power and the VMware licensing costs. And then even if you include the addition of the new hardware, um, they're still saving tens of thousands of dollars over the course of 5 years by implementing this strategy, reducing the footprint, and it does not take into consideration rack space, floor space within the data center as well. So there's some other advantages of reducing that footprint as well. But this is a pretty significant strategy change, kind of shifting some of the allocation or the budget spend that IT individuals have at their disposal, shifting some of those investments from maybe a software licensing to more of a hardware optimization to optimize the gains by implementing this strategy and still getting the same compute power that they need to run their environment. So this is not always easy to do. It's when you start to look at alternative stacks and maybe the scenario that we just went through, maybe there's just a bad taste in your mouth as you look at the additional price increases from VMware, and you want to start exploring, seeing what else is out there. There are some other things that could potentially be hidden in the cost of looking at a new hypervisor or new virtualization option for your particular environment. First, the total cost of ownership is really important. Cost of the downtime, right? Implementing a new hypervisor and virtualization option within your environment, you've got to take that into consideration, making that migration from one solution to another solution. With another solution as well, are you going to be able to maintain that service level of operation that you've come to expect from what you've had in the past? And then probably the biggest pain point for a lot of customers is you've got human resources that know how to manage what you have in place right now. You know it works, and getting people trained on new technology is not always the easiest thing to do. So, combining these four different things are things that need to be taken into consideration when looking at alternative stacks outside of VMware. So virtualization alternatives really does require planning. This is probably the most important thing that needs to be taken into consideration, specifically about, what is your workload strategy? Um, is there an option to minimize workload changes or modernize the application? Those are questions that you've got to ask yourself. What does the integration of an existing ecosystem look like? Are you going to keep some of that? What's the service management? What does that look like? And then what's your overall budget as well? How much can be secured, and what you need to do to secure the financial resource to implement the new solution. Um, and then this is just a general roadmap of things to consider as you start to look at the possibility of our alternative virtualization stacks as well. First, you start out with, doing a deep dive and analysis of your current environment and where you want to go, and start to design the pieces of what your long-term strategy is for your infrastructure. Then at that point, you can kind of start to piece together the landing zone for the different options that are out there. Does it make sense to continue on with your current hypervisor and virtualization solution? Does it make sense to test something new? Um, and then start to integrate that new solution into your environment. Make that migration, start to do a plan there. Make sure that it's validated with the workloads that you're running, and then ultimately move it into operation as well. So the landing zone for a lot of customers, we've talked a little bit about this already. There's several customers. We have deep partnerships with a lot of these um, virtualization options that are out there. If they want to go to an open source Linux-based solution with KVM, OpenShift, and others, Azure Stack HCI has been a popular one from Microsoft, and a lot of customers like the ease and simplicity of scaling with Nutanix. And there's other solutions that are out there as well. The nice thing about working with a trusted advisor as you go through this process, as you've seen, it's not an easy process to make a change. Change is hard. Specifically in the IT business, it's not an easy transition to make, moving from one technology to another. It can be painful at times. But trusting with a trusted vendor like HPE, you know you've got a team of professionals with a lot of legacy and experience and services and solutions that are here to help you through and how to navigate through the challenges that come from implementing a new virtualization strategy into your environment. So just be rest assured that HPE is here for you. We have the resources to help you out. We have a strong partner community as well that are well versed in the offerings that we have and can be a valuable value add to helping you through and navigating through this virtualization challenge that you might be faced with. One of the most important pieces of going through this journey of looking at your current environment and deciding what path you should take. Should we stay with the status quo? Should we look at some other options? One of the most foundational and important things that you can do is to understand your current environment and where are the places that you can look within your environment, your entire estate, to find areas of optimization and how to maximize the investment that you currently have. And if it makes sense to move to a different type of solution for the future. With HPE Cloud Physics, this is a little piece of software that can run in your environment, and it will collect all the information that would be needed to make a much better and informed decision about what direction you should take, specifically around what direction you should take in a virtualization environment. In this slide, I've included a short video that you can watch at your leisure when you get the slides or download them. You can just click on that cloud physics rectangle there, and it's about a 3-minute overview of a bit more in detail about what cloud physics can do. Off to the right-hand side, you see a snapshot of some of the output that you will get from the assessment as it runs in your environment. It will take, we recommend just a couple weeks to run in your environment, but literally within a few minutes of it running in your environment, it will start to collect that data. So a really powerful tool, and this is absolutely free. It's free of charge, and then we can come on and help you interpret the data, the output, and find areas for optimization within your environment. So really powerful tool, and would highly encourage you to take a look at cloud physics as one of those first steps to take in making the decision on what direction you should take moving forward when it comes to virtualization. So we've talked a lot about several different things, and I just want to recap a few of the highlights that we've discussed today. So first and foremost, HPE is here. We care about your business and we want to be with you on your virtualization journey. We have the legacy, we have the expertise, we have the solutions, and we have the consultation um, expertise to help you along that journey. The second thing is just want to leave you with there's not a one size fits all for each customer that we deal with. Your instance is going to be completely different from somebody else. So it really takes that consultative type approach to understand what's the best fit for you. Should you just move forward with status quo? Should you look at some alternative options? Should you start testing some alternative options? Should you include some containers within your virtualization solution as well? So all of these things could be considered. Keep in mind as well, this is the third point. I like this analogy of a 1 + 1 = 3. Think back to that example of a customer that did a consolidation with legacy hardware. They reduced the number of servers that they had in their environment. They optimized the new licensing scheme from VMware, got it implemented, and it turns out they actually were able to save money by shifting some of their budget towards hardware versus software to optimize their environment. So I like the 1 + 1 = 3. And sometimes we just kind of take the easy road out and we say, okay, here's the bill from VMware. We'll just pay it and we'll move on. But if you look at the whole environment holistically, hardware, software, services, total cost of ownership, you can really unleash some value by doing that and optimizing your environment in that way. The fourth thing is take that first step. Run a cloud physics assessment. Let us come in and help you interpret the data that is collected through that cloud physics assessment. And best of all, it's free. And it really does provide you that first step in your virtualization journey. And last but not least, you have the resources available. So if you have a relationship with a channel partner, reach out to your HPE channel partner, have a discussion with them, find out what other customers are doing, help have the channel partner help you through that process. They can engage the HPE experts. If you've got an HPE account team that you work with, reach out to them. Or if you are looking for a new channel partner or are not sure who your HPE account team is, you can reach out to me and I would be glad to help out in any way to help you get started on that journey. So, with that, I just want to say thank you. Again, my name is Brent Kenny. You've got my email address there. If you do have any questions, you can reach out to myself or my peer, Michael Head. We are happy to help out in any way, and I hope this has been a good use of your time and look forward to partnering with you on your virtualization journey. Thanks for the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brent. That has been such a thorough presentation. And I'm excited to get into some Q&A with you here. But before I do, I have a poll up for everyone out there in the audience. So this is just asking if you are a current VMware customer today, what are your virtualization plans for the future? Are you looking to stay with VMware? Are you exploring other options? Or maybe you just don't know yet and you would like a little bit of guidance to make that decision. So I'm going to leave that up for a minute here, give everyone a chance to respond, and then we can kind of discuss some of those options. And Brent, I am also going to let you kind of, pipe in on this if you have any sort of feedback or interesting information around, what you're seeing in these results, what you think about that.
Yeah, it's probably about what I would expect. What I've been seeing is most customers want to stick with VMware. I saw a little typo there. My apologies. That's kind of glaring at me. Stay with VMware, but I think you understand. It should be VMware. But yeah, I mean, 56% want to stick with VMware, and that's kind of what we're finding most customers leaning towards, at least for this initial pass, as they kind of navigate through the changes that Broadcom has implemented. So, in the future, we're starting to see some customers start to test some other hypervisor solutions, see if it's a good fit for them, see if they like the tools and resources and services that are available to them with an alternative stack as well. But most customers are not ready to make that full leap to a new provider, at least at this point.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to leave this up for maybe 10 more seconds. So if you haven't responded yet, this is your final chance, and then we'll just kind of push those results live so you can all see them. And then we'll roll right over into Q&A. So, Brent, are you ready to take some questions from everyone out there?
Sure, you bet. Love to.
All right. So first question I've got here in the queue is, what is HPE's resell relationship with VMware by Broadcom now?
Yeah, so at the first of the year, things changed for us and actually for our competitors as well. So any other hardware vendor was affected by this. We used to have some channel products that we were able to resell and did quite a bit of velocity with VMware in that way. The ability for us to resell VMware at this point is pretty limited. For the most part, it's got to be a very high threshold of dollar amount spend. Licensing needs several layers of approval on the HPE side as well as on the Broadcom VMware side. So the recommendation that we're making to customers to eliminate as much friction as possible when it comes to ordering is go directly to VMware and bring your own license with your hardware as well. So that's a pretty significant change. We'll see what happens in the future, but that's the current status right now. I will tell you that our relationship with VMware is still very strong from a technical qualification standpoint. We still work with their technical teams, our technical teams, to ensure that there's compatibility on their matrix with our servers and our platforms as one of those leading vendors for their virtualization solution. So nothing has changed there from a compatibility and technical qualification standpoint.
All right, awesome. And are there any things you're seeing as people kind of like come in or start this journey that are, common pitfalls, or anything you could say like, hey, put this on your radar?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of going back to that example of if you've got some legacy servers that are running VMware that are in that old model of, you know, VMware does their licensing based on core count. So the current minimum core count to optimize the licensing is 16 cores. So if you've got 8 core processors, but need to move to the latest version of VMware, and it's a minimum of 16 cores, you're basically paying for 8 cores of licensing that you're not going to be able to use because of that limitation of the old processor core type, the processor type there. So we've seen a lot of customers in that scenario where they purchased what they thought was a good optimized solution, a lot of 8 core processors out there, taking advantage of the previous minimum version of 8 core. Now it's moved to 16 core, and now they've orphaned some of those licenses and are paying for software that they're never going to be able to use because of the hardware. So I think that is one of those things. And when you take into consideration optimizing the hardware, a lot of customers are like, well, I got to do this. I'm just going to bite the bullet and just pay for the 16 core license, even though I'm only utilizing it in an 8 core environment. That's a huge oversight by many customers. So I would say that's probably the biggest one that some customers are overlooking. And like I said in the presentation, just looking at your overall spend, seeing if there's ways to maximize your environment by shifting some of the spend to different areas can make a huge difference over the course of time. So
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that and taking my follow up on that. So, next question I have for you is how long does HPE Cloud Physics need to run before getting valuable insights?
yeah, so usually once it starts running in the environment, literally within minutes, it will start collecting data. But we recommend that it run for about 2 to 3 weeks to get, because it does have some, you know, time utilization throughout the day, and then just see, spikes and sags of utilization within the environment at different times as well. So we recommend, about 2 to 3 weeks to get a full view of and understanding of what the environment looks like.
Nice. And I imagine that'll get better and refine over time the more data that goes into
Yes,
it.
exactly, exactly.
Okay, another question here is from Phil. He is asking, what are you seeing most existing VMware customers doing moving forward?
Yeah, like I said, and I think kind of similar to what the poll results showed, we're finding most customers are going to end up sticking with VMware at least for now. We are seeing a lot of adoption of Microsoft products as well with Hyper-V and Azure Stack, as that's probably the next logical solution, especially if they're in a Windows environment. Um, you know, uh, there's some, if you're in a Linux environment, we're seeing some adoption, at least some testing of some different solutions out there with in those types of environments in Linux. And then Nutanix is another one, just for the simplicity sake of just continuing to scale if you're in a high growth type environment. The ability to continue to add nodes, and they like the simplicity of just adding additional nodes as they continue to grow. With Nutanix is also getting traction. I will say that with the simplicity, it's not always the most cost effective way to do an alternative, but it is an option that is out there. So it, like I said in the final slide there, it's not a one size fits all, and that's why, depending on your environment, depending on the OS, depending on the applications that you run, and what the compatibility is with different hypervisor solutions that are out there, we've got to take that kind of consultative approach to identify what's the best option for you moving forward. I will say that even if customers are going to stay on VMware, there there is a lot of appetite to explore and start to test some other solutions out there. So we're seeing a lot of customers start to kick the tires on some alternative solutions as well. But I would say in general, most existing VMware customers, you know, are probably going to stick with VMware at least for the time being and pay those
Nice.
new costs. Yep.
Are there are there any things on the horizon that you're particularly excited about that you're seeing kind of emerging or that you guys are working on?
So with HPE within our GreenLake offering, we are starting to have a, KVM-based virtualization solution. It won't be a standalone hypervisor solution, but it will be offered through our private cloud offering through GreenLake. So that's kind of interesting. That should be launching here within the next couple months. It was announced at HPE Discover. So more details to come on that. But it will just be interesting to see how this new Broadcom strategy continues to evolve, and see if they kind of stick to their guns on the go forward, strategy that they've put in place right now, or if they'll make any changes. I'm not here to say that there are going to be changes, but with all the disruption that this has caused, it will be interesting to see how this all kind of plays out. But rest assured, HPE is here. We've got a lot of experience in this area, and we can help guide you through the process of whatever direction you want to take on this. So, and give you recommendations at the same time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think that's so important is like take that holistic approach, consult and say like, this is where we fit, this is where you might want to explore. And I think that way, just like you said, nothing is one size fits all. So really gives that perfect mix of what needs to be put in place.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're pushing up against time here, so we're going to wrap things up shortly with questions. But I did want to give you the final opportunity here to just say, any sort of final remarks to the audience out there, or if someone is really excited to get started or learn a bit more, if you can direct them kind of with where to go, what to do, and start that journey.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wrapped it up with that final slide, but really, I think the overall message is, we're here for you. These are really disruptive changes that are taking place in the industry. It wasn't a decision on our part, but we know that, and we have concern for our customers that are going through this. We're here to help, and whether it be through a channel partner, your HPE account team, and like I said, if you want to engage with me directly, we can get resources aligned to have the conversation and find an optimal solution for you. So we're just here for you, and wish you luck in this new virtualization world that we're living in now. So.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate this. I've loved just listening to this and being able to pick your brain as well with some of these questions that have come in. And with that, I am going to let you go and give you a final thank you.
You got it. Thank you, and thanks to the participants today. Glad you were able to join. Take time out of your busy schedules.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thanks, Brent. Take care.
All right.
Alrighty, everyone. If you are out there in the audience and you haven't quite yet checked out the handouts tab, the video that was linked and referenced there in Brent's presentation is still there to grab and take a quick peek. It's just an awesome kind of 2.5 minute overview there of make smarter IT decisions with HPE Cloud Physics. So if you like that idea of cloud physics and some of those insights, definitely go check that out. And before we wrap up, I have one more little bit of fun to add to an already awesome webinar, but it is time for a prize giveaway. Yeehaw, right? So a reminder, you must be present and live at the webinar in order to win. And without further ado, today's winner of a $250 Amazon gift card is Matthew Coy from Michigan. Huge congrats to you, Matthew. And as always, we will be in touch about claiming your prize after today's webinar. And do not forget, for those of you who asked some great questions, thanks for doing that. And there will be a best question award given out for $50, also an Amazon gift card. And we will be reaching out to that lucky winner as well after today's webinar. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank HPE for making this webinar possible, and especially a huge thanks to our incredible speaker, Brent Kenny, who has given us so much to think about today. And of course, I want to send out big high fives and special thank yous to all of you, just as Brent said, for making this possible, for taking the time. I know it's not always easy to stop the daily grind and take a moment to kind of look up and think forward and do some assessing. So thanks for pulling your heads up from your screens and your busy days and making a little bit of mental space in order to learn how to optimize servers with HPE to maximize your VMware licensing. Again, I know I've learned a lot from the session today, and I hope you have as well. And well, I can't wait to see you all again at another webinar again soon. And with that, I hope you have an absolutely magical rest of your days. Take care, everybody.